Our second speaker is a founder, CEO, creative director, an all-around powerhouse of the Finnish game scene, and also a fabulous redhead. She's here to talk about unconventional approaches to success. Please put your hands together for Natasha Skult.
All right, welcome back to Helsinki Hall, as it's absolute pleasure to be back here on the stage. And I really, before I even start with my talk and how we go absolutely off the road when it comes to the ways we do our studio management, business growth, and everything else, I want to shout out to the organizers, Evi and Ari, who made this event. Please, one more applause for them. And thanking them for, I really feel privileged to be on this stage today, sharing it with the people I admire so much. Juha, Harri, Marina, also Ari, Evi, Milos, Jonni, and so on. And again, all of you who are there today to share our stories, as well as, because this is all what Finnish games industry is all about. And today, what I will talk about is being indie, and really indie to the core. And what does that really mean? So one thing that I realized, and I actually got asked pretty recently, is that how many of you actually know me outside of the IGDA? Few hands, there you go. So apparently, most of my face and name is through IGDA, which, by the way, is my hobby. It's not work. It's non-profit volunteer work, because unlike, we all need hobbies, and instead of, playing golf, sailing, or whatever, I help game developers. Because I know how much it meant and how much it is, especially as a teacher. I'm also an academic and teacher. That's what I wanted to be my whole life, to be a teacher. And again, sharing the knowledge, empowering others is something that I have been always doing since even being a kid, helping other kids. So yeah, IGD is not my work. That's not where I get my food from, or the rest what we need for a living. And that's something that I wanted to first, let's start with actual introduction, that you know who I actually am. So it's not just the face of IGDA. As a day job, I'm a CEO and founder of MiTale, a completely independent studio from Turku, which is focusing on narrative-driven games. We end up mostly with RPGs. Sue us. What to do? That's where our hearts are. But the thing is, when it comes to, and I will be discussing exactly this how we started from zero and wanted to actually create a business from thin air to actually profitable studio of 20+ people in the team now, after 6 years. And yes, we did everything opposite what gurus and others have been saying in accelerators, talks, we did everything opposite. Because we have been around as main founders for quite a long in the games industry. We have seen stuff, and we know what may or may not work, but also we wanted to take a chance to actually question stuff. And that's the beautiful thing about being an indie, questioning and not accepting something just as a status quo. So that's going to be the main thing of today's talk. But besides that, my name was already today, even with these few events mentioned. But that's not all. Again, that's a hobby. Once again, hobby, helping people, always good. But besides that, I am also an academic. I am finishing my doctorate in IT department on interactive storytelling with quantum computing. And no, I'm not a physicist, and no, I'm not a coder. So bear with me. And I'm teaching game design and digital art and interactive experiences at University of Turku. And most recently, I also started to teach at private university Ashesi in Ghana with fellow colleagues from the local university, which is very exciting since it's the very first game development course in that whole region of the African continent. So it's really exciting. And quite often, and this is again, that's my work. So I run a business. That's why I have this, I am LARPing here, a businesswoman. So, I run a business, that's my day job is. and then everything else follows. So quite many usually immediately ask, how do you do all of that? How many of you currently think of that question? Great. So that is going to be the first answer I will be giving after the presentation here. And I can assure you that I have no twins or triplets or anything like that. It's just me. I don't travel in time or space or anything like that. Sometimes I bend it, but I don't travel. And yeah, it's all possible if, just like wonderful Juha was explaining, and as a producer, time management, project management. That's where the magic happens. And that's how also our studio is possible to do for our team multiple projects for both our clients, partners, and our own IPs. And we currently have 3 PC titles in production, which I will show later. So yeah, let's dive in. As a storyteller, I'll tell you a story of our studio and also how it all started, and also from kind of my role in all of that. And it's going to have 3 parts, as every story should. Beginning, middle, and maybe cliffhanger. Let's see. So, interactive storytelling. This is where so when we started the studio, we actually registered in 2017, but I never wanted to be a CEO. I want to be an artist. That's where my background is. I just want to do fun stuff. I want to design games. I want to do the creative side. I don't want to be a paper pusher. But the problem is, even when I was, no matter how good artist you are, if you are good in business, which I wanted to avoid I'm from business family, so I have this PTSD of business, kind of daddy issue stuff. So basically, I did not want to do business, but I know it. Yeah, it's something that comes very naturally, unfortunately, to me, that I can do it. So once you're good at business, nobody cares how good an artist you are. Everyone wants you to handle things, go hustle, get the money, blah, blah, blah. And I have been doing that in my previous roles, in the previous companies and so on. So this is where we decided, okay, we are getting old, very ran out when it comes to all this hustle. And 4 of us formed the company with the ideology that we want to see, can we actually create a business from the thin air, something that is sustainable and growing, without pre-seed or seed funding or investment or anything like that. Because it's really boring even by now that when you see so many startups, everyone is kind of like competing who raises more instead of who actually makes it work. And we can see so many of those who, not just in Finland, but across the globe, millions poured in some startups, and after a year closing. And that's fine. Again, that's the part of the industry. This is not a bad thing. But for us, again, I'm old. I don't want to do this. And so basically, what we wanted to see, can we create a profitable, sustainable business? And then, when we are ready, even that we had interested investors from here and abroad and everywhere, but we just didn't want to go that route and wanted to risk it that let's focus on business. And when we are ready, imagine what we can do with someone's millions. So, scale-up investment is something that actually we are currently starting. And that's a completely different kind of situation to be at than, let's say, a starving startup, which I didn't want to be at all. So we focused on honest-to-God work. That's it. And what we have been doing ever since is that we are focusing on stories. And by stories, again, it's not necessarily walls of text. It's interactive story, meaning, the games as a medium of storytelling, of emotional engagement, not just with the players, but with common people as well, that can become just, the games can become, same like movies, just part of the culture themselves and identity and so on. And this is something that we really believe, same like we have in other industries, marketing and everything else, where you have visual storytelling impacting so much. And we, unlike in this visual impact that, let's say, through movies or other entertainment mediums we have, it's still a monologue to the users or to the viewers. But here we have this beauty of interaction, that the player is an active part. There is a dialogue between the player and the designer. And that is something that we really focus in our studio. And this is what we have been really wanted when we work with our clients and partners, not just kind of like outsourcing, but also co-development with publishers and other kind of companies from whichever industries, because we have been helping so many different professionals from different industries who didn't even understand or know what they can do with the medium such as games. So some can call it gamification, which is fine, but again, it's not, that's kind of like, when I speak also maybe even today about, if I mention gamification, it's not necessarily what you immediately might think, do game, fill the quiz, not at all. It's more like real using, and again, this is the room full of game dev professionals, you know what I mean. We are using our market-driven knowledge together with other experts in other industries to make really the most out of it. And that's where our income has been brewing ever since, and what made us stable from the beginning. So we always had B2B and B2C side. B2C meaning developing our own products. And we had, from the beginning, different kind of apps, so mobile side, PC side, VR, AR, whatnot. And I'm really proud to say that even with, we immediately as we formed, Mikko, my co-founder, was supposed to be the CEO. And then after a year, he's like, I can't do this, can you do it? So like, someone has to. So there I switched. So in 2018, in autumn, I actually became a CEO, as you can see on my LinkedIn, if nothing else. So that's where I kind of, okay, let's focus on this forward. And ever since we first got 2 more people, so in the first year we employed, so we were 6 total, and we already shipped, if I'm not mistaken, 8 different types of products just in the first year. And I'm really proud of that, because again, as someone that you need to show your track and so on, and then all of these people are professionals and seniors in the industry, so it was really possible. And we had work experience together before, so we know that we can do this kind of multiple projects at the same time. So, here comes one really, really important question. Why? Why going indie and why not, like going with a bigger partner and so on? How to put it? First of all, having that freedom to mainly experiment as a creatives, as also technical people as well. So it's not just that you are following these deadlines, things like whichever investor publisher says and so on, but really being able with the team to, for like really what it means, think outside of the box. It's priceless. And this is something that why we did it. We wanted to do things, and everything we do from our B2B side to B2C, we stand behind the work we do in a sense that we are truly proud of what we do, that we are like, yes, this is what we did. Unfortunately, quite many of those are under really high NDAs, and we can't show some of these, but it is what it is. Hopefully soon, some of these, when they are launched, especially from the big boys out there, that we are very proud of collaboration. One of the games launching now in September, so hoping to be able to share those news very soon. But that's what we do. So, and yes, saying no also to the projects is extremely important. So, and that's, I will cover that slightly later. But yeah, why? Starting with why is something that we hear a lot from LinkedIn gurus and whatnot. But this time, try really to think why for yourself. And for us, the most important thing was people. Because I wanted to make a game studio where we are really in it together. And this is where we are having completely full, flat hierarchy, absolutely till the end, where we are also paid equally. We all have the same salaries. I have the same salary as the even new employee. And then we made the bonus system and so on. So basically, whoever has the, gets a baby, this and that, like we can support. Like, so the point is, people can be safe and supported within the company no matter what. Also, building the trust within the team itself. So we literally made, before even game deck or any other decks, or even this sort of strategy, business strategy, roadmaps and so on, we literally made company culture deck. Because I want to focus on people. Because I'm nothing without the people as a CEO, obviously, and I don't, again, just a title. If we do it together. And that was the whole point, why we did it. We wanted to do it as one, and with people who join us, that they also feel fully included, so none of that hierarchy nonsense. And I'm a big believer that this can be done even with the more than 25 people in the team. And I'm here to hopefully do that in the next stages where we are at as a studio, so that we can see, because quite many have been, even in the I remember, I was sitting with some of the people from the industry just before shifting to MiTale full-time, and I was saying that this is what we want, like it was some of those after parties, I think might be GDC, I don't even remember. Anyway, and explaining what I want to do with our studio, and few men were particularly laughing like, haha, you won't last 6 months. Even if we don't last 6 months, so what? At least we tried. At least we tried, and besides, especially if we want to build something on our own from thin air, what do we have to lose? In the sense that we are not losing anyone else's money or anything like that. Plus, we all know how much, if someone even loses someone, it doesn't really matter in this industry. Everyone knows that it's a risk when they invest. So again, even that is not a problem. And here we are, even just 3 years after, even first year we were on a positive note, so we were never and we don't have loans, by the way. So this is all literally honest to God work growing forward. And nowadays we are making money both from our own products and B2B. And that's something that even a few years after, when I met this gentleman, and it's like, so 6 months passed, a few years ago, and now we tripled our income and all that, so I guess it works, at least for us. So a disclaimer, everything I say today is literally, I'm sharing our story and our ways of doing stuff. That doesn't mean it would work for another team, even from another country, and so on. Very particular, our story. So therefore, if this helps you in any way to maybe think about some ways to improve your processes and stuff, by all means. And I'm always happy to discuss stuff further. I have nothing to hide. We are indie, we can share everything, so it's really not a problem. But it's not something that I'm giving you should do this, just as a disclaimer. This is just how we do it and what works for us. So, as a team, I think of course, keeping motivation up, especially when you are having this different kind of projects, different kind of deadlines, and what it means to also, like for the team itself. I mean, at least everyone in our team has been really, really enjoying the fact that they have variety of projects to work on for the sake of, refreshing, that you are not just stuck with one thing for a year or 2 or 4 or 6. Especially because we are in PC and console, so we know that it takes longer, and therefore it's really refreshing that people can shift around and work on. But still, there is usually a lot to do. And this is why teamwork, once again, I'm nothing without my team, or none of us who are kind of producers and leaders to make sure that everything functions smoothly. People are the focus, and always are. And this is where the processes are extremely important, where you make processes that fit people, not to limit them. And let me explain that a bit. So if we are having processes that we see that, okay, this is not working for some person due to maybe certain accessibility reasons, or neurodiversity reasons, or simply home family situation reasons, I'm not going to ask person to change, because that's their life. I will change the processes to fit that person. And that's back to that company culture. So think about that as maybe later on. I hope that is something that will resonate with you, especially leaders in the room, that processes are there to serve people, to make the best results in their work, and not other way around. Not to limit them, not to frustrate them, not to burn them out, none of that. And that's our responsibility. So that's how we do. And when it comes to individuals, because again, each of our team members are very precious little special cookies, every single one of them. And I mean this in a beautiful way. I mean this as a big compliment. And everyone works differently. So that's why communication is extremely important. We even before COVID, we had the whole hybrid option, so people could work, because again, all seniors, no problem whatsoever. And even later when we were employing few junior talent and working with them, again, no problem whatsoever. We also have currently employees who are in Kayani, Kotka, Iran, where else was, from UK and so on. So we have the variety of people who also are not obviously in Turku. And why would you be? One person actually is not moving to Helsinki. Great. Still, they don't have to change the job. Why would you? So communications is extremely important. And this is where when you work with your team, it's really crucial to discuss and really be open. Like this is where this hierarchy and all of that has to disappear. Because we need to figure out really what are the strengths and weaknesses of everyone, including myself, obviously. I am full of weaknesses, holy cow. And I make mistakes every single day, repeatedly. So the point is that we need to be aware of those weaknesses and strengths so that we as a team, again, can intervene and fill all these gaps that who is better in what and how we can do things to, again, for the purpose of the whole team overall, as well as the success of our products. And this is where discussing with the team members, or even as a group, like really that they understand, so because they are the ones who need to first understand what they're good at, what they want to get better at. And all of these things that we work again together throughout our day-to-day work. And communicating can be hard, especially if people come from the companies that are not obviously set up like this. So it's a big shock that you actually can just literally sit, or you see your CEO sitting on the floor and answering floor, because yeah, I feel like it. Like, so what? But that would not be necessarily normal thing to see out there. And therefore, breaking that boundary that someone is afraid to say something is really crucial. So being available and approachable is one thing that I think it's super important for the leadership. And what makes a person unique? Now, again, like all this kind of like, you are unique. Yes, you are. Everyone is unique. But what does that really mean? In my opinion, what it means is that you really need to figure out from your gain knowledge, from education, or even like life knowledge. Because again, think about this. I'm a classical painter as my master's degree. I finished academy, classical art academy in Belgrade, Serbia, 5 years of studies, Nazi camp. We went through this sort of very regime, like learning all, and that's absolutely crucial nowadays for my knowledge, that I'm transferring that knowledge to the interactive storytelling. And that's the point. And working nowadays also with quantum computation and everything else. So your knowledge is transferable, also from your hobbies and everything else. And this is something that makes you unique. It's not just what's on your CV. So these are the reasons why, for example, quite often when we do recruitment, it doesn't really work for our team necessarily that we have recruiters doing work for us, because I need a mindset, not what CV says. Because skills we will fix. We will teach you. You will learn. Everyone will. It's like what? 3D modeling? Like what? Yeah, of course you'll get better. More you do, let's practice. But if mindset is wrong, for us as a team, then I can't do much about it. And recruiters usually look into CV, years of experience, like, come on. Like, as we all know, quite many of you here wouldn't even, in the companies you work, when you see current, most likely, ads, wouldn't even be able to apply for your companies at this point. Like, this is very common when the HR and recruiters do. So that's why we do our own recruitment. It's as simple as that. Because I want to see the person, what is it, who are they as such. Skills will be gained, don't worry about it. And then, this is another trick, what works for us really well. Set smaller goals. Pick your battles. You can't do it all. And again, you see how much we do, or what I even do. But it all happens on a very specific, measurable, trust the numbers. Whatever you can test as soon as you can, so that you can pivot, alter, and go forward. And this also goes for people. Try different things. That's why we have a lot of game jams. Our team is also participating in different game jams out there, on their own, or as a team, and we have in-house game jams. So this really helps a lot to try stuff and set certain goals to, and jams are a great place that you can really not think about work, but just, in more open-minded level, even go further to solve certain challenge which you might have in a day-to-day project. And keeping it relevant, again, for what it is, and attainable, because you want that, like in games, you want to also track your progression. So this is something that whatever time or so that you can track, that would be ideal that you can do with your team. And this is also the same thing when you work with your clients. So quite often, especially bigger projects you submit things for the review, and the review can go, oh yeah, we are going to come back to you on Monday. 3 Mondays later, we get some feedback. So it's like, what, these 3 weeks in between? It's not like I have developers doing this. So of course, we are not waiting. Like, while they do that, we have other things to tackle. And this is where setting up kind of like your skill tree, especially for those who are just joining the team as juniors or even more experienced ones, still having this sort of setting up your goals, personal ones, as well as, because I want our people to grow with us as well. So it's not just obviously, like we are in this together. So gamify your processes. We are game developers. This is what we do. Do the same thing we do with players, but do it with your own people so that all this motivation and everything else keeps up and that they're really hyped and even get way better, actually, solutions based on... So everything we preach out there, and we see even from our products, use it in the house. It's not it's not quantum physics, I can guarantee you that. I've worked with physicists, and trust me, this is way easier. And another thing for us, which is really important, is diversifying the income. And this was another reason why every time when we speak with a publisher, investor, or anyone like that, that would be in the discussions that we have, they would say like, no, you have to, if we go forward, you have to cut this and that. First of all, if someone tells me as a business person that you should cut the faucet that really just keeps pouring money and doesn't affect your actual work on your own IPs, it's an amateur, and I have nothing further to discuss with them. So basically because what we do in our strategy is nothing new. We are basically following old school, just not toxic, old school software development, where the IT companies used to do that. Develop, and then they would create their own profit, while still having B2B filling up the casa because that's something that will always keep there. So in our case, never having all the eggs in one basket was from day one. So not spending on one project multiple years and so on. No, you have to, sure, it will take multiple years, but that's not the only project, and I'm talking about our own project. So always try and diversify as much, because you don't know what's going to be the next thing. You don't know what's going to work on the market. You don't know what's going to happen with the technology, meaning some new, look at AI, what happened in the just past 6 months, not even what's going to happen in next, and so on. So going with how humanity evolves, you also have to. And that's why having multiple things going on is crucial. So I would never cut B2B. What I would do is just get additional people to handle that while our core team might be doing this. And then if they want to switch around, then we do it. But again, it's the way how we would run, how we run already. So it doesn't matter, is it 5 people or 25, which is currently, or 50? Still, I think it's still all scalable if you create your processes properly. Now we all know this one. So, for an indie studios, or for basically, even if you think if you're a kind of more experienced and you're like, oh, I got this, I'm gonna do an indie studio now, boom, and then you get smacked immediately. We all did. And then with more experience, you will still get smacked in the face, sooner or later. But what I usually like to, and what I usually explain to my students as well, what for me at least the experience means. We're all gamers in the house, so I don't need to go into more detail. For me, experience is that. Imagine walking into the boss fight arena. So you walk into an, okay, there is boss coming, like, you know, it's a bigger, no one else around. Meanwhile, you got a bunch of health packs, so yeah, you are gonna have a fight now. So you have a boss fight, and immediately as the boss comes in, you die, like just 2 hits, you're dead, that's it. But you come back again, you die again, and again, and again. The next time, next maybe 5th, 6th time, you start actually managing to do a hit or 2, and you still die. But now you're starting to notice pattern. And next time, even more patterns, and so on, until you start dancing with that monster and get more hits to actually defeat it. And that's what experience is about. It's not getting any easier from the day 1 to the 15 years in the industry. What is different is all your scar tissues that you can now recognize different patterns, that you know how to avoid certain things, that you don't get hit, but eventually there will be some other hits. And that's really how I try always to explain, like, oh, you have been this is so easy for you. No, my biggest challenge now, as a bear mama, because I really care about the team and the company and all that, is that to keep this stability. So that's my biggest challenge, and my biggest, like, not like, keep it. That, and of course, slowly growth, because we also from day 1 didn't want to do fast growth and, you know, fast exit and what. No, where are we rushing? What's the point? We want to enjoy what we do, and we want to enjoy and our people to have a nice work-life balance and everything else. And those are 3 main things: making sure everyone has food on the table so that we are safe, that people are happy with the projects they're working on, and the third one, that they have family and work balance. These are the main 3 things that I care about. I work over, but that's me. I'm just a, you know, one should never kind of like as a person. So as you see all my other activities, that's my personal problem, kind of when it comes to it. But the getting that experience is something that is really important, and allowing people to get outside of their comfort zone to dance with that monster. So that's something that we also encourage in our team. Because no matter what happens, they're not alone. And here are those beautiful little faces, which, by the way, nobody wants to have a picture on, so on our website we have illustrations. And hence, from all these people, I'm still on the stage, because nobody else wants to talk. So, but yeah, that's the thing. We are in this together, so whatever challenge there is, they come and ask others. And how we, again, manage stuff is that smaller people work on and own, as they're owners of the project, either client or our own, and so on. And then we have this, of course, weeklies, monthlies, and everything else, like you know, nothing new there. But giving them that ownership is something that really grows, like, allows our team to work together, to have that sort of, like, really empowers them to, and even if the mistake happens or something, so what? It's not like who did it, it's more like, let's fix it. That's the whole attitude. Let's fix it, let's figure out what to do. Or I don't know, client pulls the plug because, again, they have their investors or something else, so it can happen, you know. Publisher decided they are not doing this anymore, fine. As we are, you know, outsourcing or whatever, we are here, available whenever you know, replug it. So having that whole, again, healthy relationship also with the industry people and partners and clients and everything else is exactly how we do forward. So all of this is very transparent. Another thing that it's really important is to learn to say no. And you can say that in my case, since you see how much I do, I might not be very good at saying no. But actually, I have been getting way better throughout these years. And what really means, what here I mean by saying no is evaluate situation, see is something actually worth, is the battle worth battling, or can you just skip that battle? Take a hit, it's fine, but think about the big picture. And delegating around. So if you can't do this, you can't do like, or someone else, delegate between each other. Again, communication and arrangements are crucial. And now about our own products, because as said, I can't really speak about most of our projects that are currently in development or to be launched with our partners, but I can speak about our own. And I mentioned that we have 3 PC games, among also this year, from the beginning of the year. So this year, our strategy was that we would put own investment into own products. So we invested, I don't know, it was about 100K per product, and basically, and we also got for one as well EU fund, which is kind of 50-50, but anyway, EU fund to work forward on. So, as someone who has been working in IP and licensing for 15 plus years, developing your own IP, again, we don't have to explain what we saw, control and everything else, but this is something that I really want to focus on, and diversify income there as well. So besides PC games, we will also be under the same franchises that we develop, have books, board games, you name it. And this is something that I want to show you next. So some of you might have seen Clay: The Last Redemption, which is actually the remnants of one really, really huge project that was way over scope for us. We got for demo award at Assembly, and that was also a result of the Game Jam game. And then it was so over scope. It was supposed to be this massive game, strategy game. It was like, it would take us, I don't know, 15 years with 30 developers to do, so it's like, hell no. But it's still there, design is amazing and it's on the shelf, so maybe one day we can complete that dream. But meanwhile, because story, world, everything that we have been building here was absolutely fascinating for everyone in the team, so it's like, yeah, let's build this forward and see what kind of different games we can make. So this is one of those as introduction to the world of Clay. And what it means as a post-apocalypse, again, RPG and PC console, but at the end it's going to be pretty much everywhere. And here are some screenshots of it. So it's very much Sunless Sea, Sunless Sky kind of like inspired, plus the Disco Elysium whole narrative aspect. And by the way, our lead designer and narrative designer is actually here today. You can discuss with him if any questions come, so you can talk to Petter directly. If you have any. And then under that, we also have, so what also happened in 2022, because I said, like, diversifying and developing IP. So the reason why we did Kickstarter, I mean, we could do our own book publishing and kind of go out. But I really wanted to test and see, would this be something that we would like, how would that be for us? Plus to learn more about Kickstarter. We never did Kickstarter before, so this was also, I wanted to learn about it. How the crowdfunding works, what is happening, what to have in mind, and so on. And again, keeping things pretty much feet on the ground. So, and building community and awareness, because that is something that Kickstarter really does well. For PC games, you really have to have a good thing, like good already track and being known as an indie. But, and plus Kickstarter in Finland is not existing, so this is really hard for Finnish companies, although there are successes, we know, like Space Haven and so on. But we didn't want to do that. Instead, let's test the ground with something small, tangible, and this is where we did the art book, which from next year, so this is exclusive one for the Kickstarter, for the backers who have like really like everything we plan to do in a book is there. But from next year, this book is going in a shrinked version, so slightly adjusted, go to the bookshops, especially nerd shops across the world. So let's see how that goes. But it's also something to cross-promote our games. Because in the book, the story is what happens before The Last Redemption. So it introduces to the whole world, and then comes the game, and then comes actually even the third game, which you will see soon. Another thing we did for the community building is Inktober, especially among the artists, is really big. So in October, that you do everyday prompt art pieces. And we decided, why not to have a Claytober? And then I would be streaming also as myself as well on Twitch, daily prompts. So every year since, we have been doing those, and this year also there will be. But everything about Clay, there is clay-game.com that one can, if you want to know more of what we're doing there. And of course, building the board game is something that I'm really excited about, because post-apocalypse exploration stuff is something that really can't wait to share more. Another PC game that we just also announced, you might have seen this one, it's Willowguard. And it's, action RPG more, but the dungeon crawler elements. And this was also our internal game jam game result, where we wanted to combine kind of the aesthetics of the Mouse Guard. I don't know if anyone is aware, how many of you know Mouse Guard comic? It's like cute little, but so fierce, and you don't mess around with these animals. It was so cute. So basically, we wanted that cute effect, but massacre in the dungeons. So then we wanted, like, no, let's do the Witcher game, where you have this open world stuff, and all this happens actually in the dungeons, but dungeons could be maybe pixel-related, so for a bit of retro feel and everything else. So that's what we are combining so many stuff, but at the end, it's pretty much Hades gameplay, just to simplify. And here I want to show a few examples. So here is just one of the screenshots from our alpha from the dungeons, and something from the narrative side as well. So this is the game that we are actually, we got EU funding for. Currently, we are looking for a publisher, of course, but we are also, even if it doesn't, we will self-publish. So again, because if we find a good match, of course we will. We want to work with publishers. It's not we're not against it. It's just like, if we don't find a fit and we have game ready, we're going to do it. Like, we're going to ship it. And this also, I am sure that we will, like, there's already in discussions, even some of our own comic books and board games and whatnot for the IP development. And now, here comes really, really dear and very, very ambitious game under the Clay universe. So this is the new title under Clay. It's called The Storm, so Clay the Storm. And it's a rogue tactics game. And this is the few screenshots from the alpha. And like the code and all is all there. Like the game works really well. And if someone, by the way, wants to test any of our games, I can send you Steam codes, no problem. We would love to have a feedback. But of course, this one is so ambitious when it comes to 3D art, because we really we have incredible AAA kind of level 3D artists in the house, which we do for our clients. So I really wanted this art to be, like, oh, that really gets you shiver. So that's something that will take a bit longer. So and this is a much bigger project. So this is where, let's say, scale-up investment or a bigger publisher is something that we are looking for, because it will take several years, unlike the Willow and so on. Willow we can do even for next year. It's really not a problem. It really depends on what kind of consoles and how we would be arranging that kind of like publishing side. But this one, it's very ambitious, but as I said, in excellent shape. And dear, dear darling of our team, because we all love this kind of games. I mean, how many of you like this kind of games? Yeah, I know. So that's one. So, but yeah, it's patience. But yeah, this is one of those titles that we haven't announced yet, but Steam page is coming because I really want to have more, sexier visuals to share, just to show what we are planning actually with the world itself. So it's in the world of Clay, but it's different, completely different characters, different environment, everything different from the previous games or book or board game or anything. So each of those are separate, but they're all under that world. And again, this is where we are now. So now, with all of this that we have, I think it's time to have a proper big-time partner, in a sense that investors who would understand, again, that I don't have to explain the business to them. So it's like that, don't worry about B2B, that's there. It doesn't bother you. We want to focus on these projects and stuff that we're doing. So both with investors and the publishers is something that we are currently discussing, and of course, looking for more like opportunities. So we'll see. Gamescom was very, very fruitful, and GDC this year, but we'll see. Either way, if it doesn't go, we still are going to continue growing on our own, so our strategy remains as it is. Because it's really important that your values are in line. It's not just about the money. They have to understand our company and culture and everything else. Because we are looking for, let's be honest, we are looking to also have, that someone acquires us eventually, but not tomorrow, maybe next 10 years. And even then, I insist that everything stays in Finland, and the business for other developers around is developed in Finland. So even if we get acquired, I can guarantee you, as long as I stand and if I'm still the CEO, that company will, and everything else, headquarters and everything else, main stuff remains in Finland, and we would share even more work for other developers in Finland, because I think it's really important that we support each other, especially in this. And again, PC, that's way more, how to put it? I think it's way easier to also have such value shared than in mobile. So, takeaways. Listen, but really listen. Listen to yourself, above all. This is something that, and your team. Like, listen, really learn to listen, not just kind of, no, listen. Try to keep that, like, and put yourself in someone else's shoes, even for a moment, when it comes to decision making. Concepting and prototyping fast is really important, because this is also something that can save so much money that you don't have to have a line of code to test the design with a certain process, if you put the processes in place. And as the creator is the player is the creator of the fantasy, and we are the ones giving them building blocks. So again, work with them, work with the players, test your games. Don't be afraid to show it around, and also share your Steam keys, or even have different kind of, even in the very early stages, test, because sooner you test, the better. Trust the numbers don't lie. Everything else can lie. Also publishers, investors can lie, but numbers won't. So have your data. Always have your data. Remember that there is a huge value of the IP, and make that as a part of your strategy. Trust me, there is a reason why publishers want to take your IP. And that's not a problem. We can also give our IPs, but just put enough zeros there at the end. No problem, you can have it. But I want to make sure that it's worth it. Diversify the income streams, always. That has been, like, this is something that really worked for us really well. And diversify the presence. So again, if you can create a different kind of products that can support your main product, which is the game, like this, books, board game, comics, whatever you want to do it. And grow your own community, your own network. So again, besides publishers and so on, have your own power over that. Make sure to say no when it's necessary, and give ownership to the team. And always have plan, not just A, but B, C, D. And some people say, but if you already planned plan B, then you're already kind of failing A. No. It's just like better to be, better be ready, hope for the best, get ready for the worst, because we know how market and everything else is bad. So be ready. And therefore, adopt the processes. But also, don't be a stranger and don't be solo. You're not alone in this. So have a mentor. I constantly have mentors, but I'm also mentoring. So make sure that this knowledge and your experiences are being shared, as well as receive from those who have been through way more than you have. And that's where networking also is really important, that you that you find the people that can really help you, and that you are not alone in this. And most important for me, be humble. No matter of your successes, keep your feet on the ground. Don't fly and smack. Be humble. And this is where also there is, at least not in our team, there's no space really for heroes especially in our type of game development. So testing and not reinventing the wheel. So whatever you can use from existing tools and things, just implement. Again, don't overthink. Just don't waste time on something that you will do better. Sure, but even that, still have something that will empower you. Don't seek perfection. There's no such a thing. Make sure that it actually works and that you are happy, and test it. Again, this is where you will see how you need to alter. And kill those babies. Oh my God, you need to kill the babies. I usually, with my students, I have this next kind of sentence going that, if you don't kill it while it's baby and it grows up into a really nasty monster, then you're gonna be way worse. So kill it while it's small and can't fight back. I know, that's horrible advice, but it's true. So do that. And with that, I would like to conclude today's talk, and I'm more than happy to see if there are any questions, but if not, we have, of course, afterwards, all the afternoon to discuss. Thank you so much for having me.